2023 is the year that I become a mascara influencer. Hello, I'm Hannah and welcome to the mascara video. Historically, I haven't put that much thought into my mascaras. I do find it to be a little bit more of a boring aspect of makeup, but as someone who loves a bold eyeshadow look and doesn't wear false eyelashes, trust me, I tried. I was really craving a staple mascara in my collection that I just knew would work for me and the type of looks that I like to do. The backstory on my eyelashes is that they're very normal in every way. I'd say they have a normal amount of curl, a normal amount of length, and I'm just looking for something to amp them up appropriately. Something to give drama without giving clump and without being difficult to take off. So my first order of business this year was I did a poll on my Instagram story to ask people how often they use their mascaras for, because that was a concern. In the past, I was always like a 3-month getting rid of that, but it was also because I had so many little dinky samples of mascara for so long that I was trying to work through. Getting rid of them after 3 months was a way to make sure I was cycling through them and they weren't just like rotting in my collection unused. So I collected that data. Enough people answered that they used them for like as long as it took, or like over 6 months, that I was like, all right, I could buy a bunch of mascaras and use them for their full time. And I did. You might have seen my video earlier in the year. I will link it down below if you didn't, where I showed those 8 mascaras that I purchased, and I tried one on each eye 4 different times and gave a little first impression. So after that, I continued to try them out, and this video today is where I'm going to rank them and report back to you my findings. If I have discovered my perfect mascara, if I've discovered multiple perfect mascaras, is the search over? My least favorite, number 8 of all of the mascaras, was the Kaja mascara. Now, Kaja is a pretty gimmicky brand. I would say probably all of their products have some sort of little gimmick to them, but in my experience, there's still solid products besides the gimmick, and even products I haven't tried, there seems to be quite a loyal fan base for. So despite not really being excited about the packaging being so bulky, 3 separate magnetic tubes that all magnetize together, I thought maybe it's just so crazy it'll work and this will end up being the one, and it definitely wasn't. Kaja did not bring the drama. My lashes felt sparse, stringy, and separated. There was absolutely no lift. I tend to go in with an eyelash curler before I put on my mascara no matter what, but I just felt like my lashes looked straighter wearing the Kaja mascara than they would if I just curled my eyelashes and left them. The primer section was very simple. The brush reminded me of the Maybelline Great Lash mascara, which I used to buy back in the day because it was like $3 when I was in high school. The other brushes were a little bit more dramatic, which is something that I used to think that I like, but I realized throughout this experiment that there's rubber brushes that I like a lot, there's hairy brushes that I like a lot, and having a more dramatic brush does not equal me liking it, but the really simple brush on the primer just made it feel like an afterthought. Like they want to be able to include this gimmick of this 3-in-1 mascara at the lowest cost possible, so they just stick the most standard brush in there. I even did a little experiment to see if the primer in the Kaja mascara was really making a difference. So I applied all 3 steps on one eye and just 2 steps on the other eye. I found that neither looked great. The 2 coats might have been slightly less curled, but the 3 looked ugly, more separated. And when I say separated, I mean that like the ones that are put together are so clumpy, and then there's large separations between those clumpy lashes. I also checked in at the end of day of that experiment and found that 3 coats had a little bit more lasting power, but both were bad. The only good thing I could say about this is that it didn't smudge on me really, but as you'll see throughout this, there's more important things to me than not smudging. There's mascaras I would choose over this one. I would choose the smudging over the sparse tree branches look of the Kaja mascara. Coming in at number 7, we have the mascara from Aether Beauty. I mentioned in that first impression that it was on sale, and I was like, hopefully this isn't the one that I fall in love with and then it gets discontinued or something. And it turns out Aether Beauty is shutting down, so I'm happy to report this one's number 7. The Aether mascara had a long brush, not fluffy. I think my lashes looked probably just as bad as they did with the Kaja one. This is only ranked slightly higher because it didn't offend me in the way that the Kaja mascara did. It separated my lashes well, but almost too separated in the way that the Kaja one did. I do think that it looked good on my lower lash line, which is another reason why it's ranked slightly higher, but it smudged. It smudged a lot. By the end of the day, they looked stringy and smudgy. Also, the removal process of these mascaras is important to me because I don't want to feel like I'm damaging my lashes when I'm trying to take them off at the end of the day. When I applied my normal removal methods to the Aether mascara, which is just a balm cleanser and a face wash, I could still feel this one on my lashes, and I hate that. I also did do some calculations about price per ounce. We're not going to talk about that too much in this video just because I feel like different brushes probably deposit a different amount of the product, and I don't know if for something like mascara it's necessarily like the most helpful, especially if you're someone who disposes of your mascara regardless of whether or not it's empty for sanitary reasons. But I thought I would just mention here that the Aether mascara at its original price is the worst value of any of the ones that I tried. It retailed for $28, it's 0.27 ounces, so that made each ounce $103.70. For context, most of the mascaras were around the $65 per ounce range, with the lowest one being Kaja for $38, and the second highest one being the Urban Decay one that we'll get to for $81 an ounce. Next one going up the list is the Cali Ray Tubing Mascara at number 6. The brush was long and straight, semi-fluffy. I don't really have much to say about this one. I feel like this, along with the Aether, were just kind of like nothing burgers. In fact, I compared the Cali Ray and the Aether and I found that they're pretty much the same. Cali Ray might have a little bit more oomph, a little bit more length and darkness, but neither of them make my lashes look that good. The Cali Ray mascara is a tubing mascara, which I had no experience with prior to this project. And I will give tubing mascaras credit for smudging less, but I don't think this mascara created that like false lash tubing effect where it makes your lashes look longer. It was just okay. We're finally up to the mascaras that I think looked actually good on my lashes. Number 5 is the mascara from Ami Collet. The brush on this one was a long, skinny plastic brush, which when I first saw, I thought might not work for me, but I was pleasantly surprised when I started applying it and found that it looked pretty good. To me, it looked like a nice everyday lash. It built nicely on 2 coats. The only issue at application was that it was a little bit smudgy even right off the bat, and I found that that only intensified during the wear of it. Throughout the day, I lost the length that it gave me, and I also had some flaking under the eye. By the time I checked in at the end of the day, my lashes looked deflated. Number 4 is the Rare Beauty mascara, and this is actually the only one that I had tried prior to this. I had a little sample of it that was like a free gift from Sephora at some point. I loved the big brush on it right off the bat, and when I applied it, I thought it looked really nice. It did all the things. It gave me length, it gave me some volume, it darkened my lashes and made them look more dramatic. However, I found that it did smudge on my eyes, like on my eyelids right at application. And I feel like application is when it's supposed to look the best. And it's kind of a no-no for me to have to like worry about what type of eyeshadow, if your eyeshadow is dark enough to deal with the smudging of your mascara right off the bat. I did several wear tests on the Rare mascara and I found that sometimes it smudged, other times it didn't. Which is something that if I didn't have better mascaras, I might have accepted. There's always kind of a balancing act with these type of products too. I might compromise on one thing if it does something else extraordinarily well. And I think that if this was the best of them, if I hadn't tried out the 3 that are ranked higher than this, I might have excused the occasional smudging for the drama when it goes on. I am going to include a comparison that I did between the Rare Beauty and the Kaja mascaras. I think you can see here that the Kaja looks so bleh, my lashes stick straight up, and the Rare Beauty mascara looks more natural and fluffy. We have now made it to the top 3. These are the 3 that I continued using after my data gathering experiment had concluded. I was wondering off the bat if I was going to find more than one that I loved, and I would say I did. I love the 3 of these for different reasons. two of them the most, but number 3 is special for its own reasons, and that one is the Urban Decay Wild Lash Mascara. This mascara has a curved, longer brush, and I found it did have a little bit of a learning curve. When I first put it on, I stabbed myself in the eye. I think I stabbed myself in the eye a couple times when I first started using this mascara. Ooh, poke myself in the eye. But it looked good. It gave me the drama that I wanted it to. It made my lashes look separated and fluffy. And the thing that I liked about this most, the reason that it's one of my top 3, is that out of all of the mascaras, this one removed the easiest. As I said, at the end of the day, I use a balm first. Recently, it's the Bioma Melting Cleanser or something like that. And then after that, I use a normal face cleanser, which is the Glossier Milky Jelly Cleanser. And I never want to feel like I'm tugging on my lashes too much when I remove my mascara. The Urban Decay one, it was like removing eyeshadow. It comes right off when I'm using the cleansing products. And I love that, especially as someone who sometimes does my makeup multiple times in a day. It's not the most bulletproof formula. I did find that in my end of day check-ins, I would have some smudging with this. But whenever I was filming and I knew I'd be taking off my makeup and redoing it later, this was definitely the mascara I was reaching for. However, the tube that I bought earlier in the year is really like hanging on for dear life at this point. It's pretty dried out, and it's the only one of the top 3 that I haven't repurchased. At one point, it was 75% off on the Sephora website, and I would have bought it if I hadn't missed the sale. Like, by the time I saw it, it was already sold out. And actually, looking now, it doesn't look like it's on the Sephora site at the moment. It's at Kohl's for the $28 price point, which is a bit much, and it's at Nordstrom Rack for $16 and change. So although this isn't like a run out and rebuy it, I really did enjoy having it, and it was helpful for long days of filming. I think it would be helpful for someone who does eye swatches with mascara on. I can't imagine wiping off around the mascara or redoing the mascara every time. So if that was kind of part of my gig, I would definitely rebuy it then. The mascara runner-up is the Thrive Mascara. This mascara has a tapered rubber brush, and not only is it a tubing mascara, I would venture to say it's the tubing mascara. A lot of people like this, and for good reason, and I was hesitant to buy it because A, I wasn't excited about mascara, and B, as far as I know, it's only available on the Thrive website. When I had initially purchased it, I also got their lash curler so I could buy enough to get free shipping. I've since learned, since being subscribed to their emails, that they do free shipping promotions pretty often. So I'd say if you're interested in this, sign up for their emails and wait a couple weeks. This mascara goes on so nicely. I think my lashes always look so bold, so separated in the right way, fluffy, long. On top of that, this mascara is bulletproof. I'm going to include a clip of this mascara after I saw Titanic in theaters earlier this year. I had never seen the full thing. I don't know why. I had always seen parts of it, but it was playing. So I went and I bawled. I cried so much, and I couldn't believe how good my lashes looked after that. Additionally, I filmed that check-in and then I fell asleep in my makeup, and I did another check-in after it had been on for like 24 hours, and it still looked good. It was still clearly applied, clearly on my upper lashes, clearly on my lower lashes, no smudging, bulletproof. If I know I'm going in a hot tub, I'll wear this, and even with the steam, it doesn't smudge. I'd say the only reason I'm ranking this as number 2 and not number 1 is that I don't love the removal process. I feel like people have talked about removing tubing mascaras being so easily because the tubes just slide off. In my experience, I use my balm, I use my face wash, and then I'll notice little black specks all over my face, and then I have to wipe them off on a washcloth, which is doable, and I found that in this case, that is worth it, but I feel like I have to struggle a little bit more than I do with my number 3 mascara and my number 1 mascara. So when I put it on, I do kind of think, like, is it worth it for me to wear it today? I'll definitely wear it if I know I need my look to survive the entire day, if I know I'm gonna be in hot, steamy, cryy situations. But if it's just a normal day, going out for a couple hours, wearing makeup in low stakes, I'll probably opt for my number 1 mascara instead. I also want to address why I have 3 tubes of this. I have This is my original tube still. I haven't decluttered it yet, but it did dry out to the point that I'm not getting the full effect when I use it, so I wanted to replace it. So I bought another one of the black one, which is the shade Bryn, and they offered special packaging, which is this like shiny silver tube. And then I was like, I wanted to try the blue mascara, and I liked that I was able to get them in different packaging to make it a little bit easier to see what's what. I wish they were more different, because I found I'm better off keeping them separated in my collection than having them next to each other. It just requires a little bit more brain power than I want to give. And on top of that, the blue shade Nola, I don't know how long it's going to last in my collection. I don't really love the shade of it. It's kind of like a dusty denim blue. Here it is compared to a shade of blue mascara that I like better. This is a mascara from Hard Candy. I don't love the formula or the brush of this, but I do love the color, and if the Thrive one was this electric, I would love it. But this dusty blue, I find to just look like a more subtle black on my eyelashes, which isn't something that I'm looking for. But regardless of that tangent, I'm so happy to have my Thrive. And I imagine it's going to be the kind of thing that I'm going to continue to repurchase. And finally, the winner of the 2023 Mascara Off, the dependable, the reliable, your local influencer's favorite, Tower 28 Make Waves Mascara. People are talking about it for a reason. The Tower 28 mascara has a curved plastic brush, and I find it to be very easy to coat all of my lashes evenly. It didn't give me quite as much drama as the Thrive mascara did, but enough that I feel like it balances out with my bolder eyeshadow looks. It gives me a nice clean length and separation, and it looks exactly the same 10 hours later as it does when I apply it. At the end of the day, no flaking, no smudging. It's certainly possible on a super hot day, a time in the hot tub, as I was saying, but for normal, everyday wear, no complaints. This is a product that's gotten so much hype in the last year or so that I think so many people have tried it, and I think it's because of that there's some mixed reviews that I've seen. I still think it's overwhelmingly positive, but I have heard complaints that it dried out quickly or that it made your lashes like stick together, and I had no issues with it. This tube I've had for the past like 11 months. I used it pretty consistently for like 9 or 10 of those months, and I found no issues until it was like really drying out and just didn't coat my lashes as well as it once did. This is one that I also did replace. I have the new tube somewhere. This is the old one, but it really treated me well the entire time through. This mascara, just like I said with the Thrive one, is something that I imagine myself continuing to repurchase. So while I do feel like my mascara needs are fulfilled, in my initial video I had, kind of put out feelers about if you guys like any of those mascaras or not, and a lot of people suggested more inexpensive mascaras. And I know that inexpensive mascaras are cool because, like, if you do use them up and go through them so quickly, who wants to spend more money than you have to on it? So although I don't think I'm going to be like a full-time mascara influencer, I'm so sorry to all of those hopeful people out there, I might be willing to do this again, maybe even like on a smaller scale, maybe less than 8 mascaras, but just to see if there is a drugstore option that meets or tops my favorites that I found here. I don't know. I'll probably use up the ones that I have going first if I'm going to do that, and then like next time it's time for me to buy mascaras, maybe then I'll buy a couple drugstore. Let me know if you're interested in that. That's going to be everything for today. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe. It really means a lot to me, and there's always way more makeup content on the way. Not usually about mascaras, but we'll see. Either way though, thank you so much for being here. Bye.